Hello, my name is Paula Stone. I am a nursing student in Nursing 608, and this is the video for assignment number 3. First of all, I will provide a summary of the theory and then discuss the setting of my virtual lunch with the theorist, followed by some questions and rationale about the theory, and apply it to my nursing practice with some rationale as to how it applies to my practice as a community nurse, and followed by a critique of the theory. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Some fun facts about the tidal model is that when it was first developed in 1997, it was piloted in 2 acute psychiatric sites in Newcastle, England, and in just 30 months, the model was revised and trialed, and it was presented in the current model that was presented in May of 2000. So since then, a number of pilot sites explored the model around the world with emphasis on exploring a person's lived experience, and it focuses on meanings and values of the individual. Hello. So yesterday, when I was out walking my dog along the beach, well, I'm here visiting at my aunt's cabin in one of the southern Gulf Islands, I came across a man who stopped to pet my dog, and we started chatting about the seals that were coming into the harbor every morning. And as we continued to talk, I learned that I was talking to a nursing theorist by the name of Phil Barker. I did share with him that I was a nursing student and I had just started my graduate studies, and he asked me if I knew about the tidal model, and I was a little embarrassed at the time because I've heard of it, but I didn't quite know what it was all about. So I came home tonight and I'm researching it, and I'm going to share with you what I found about the model. Okay. Hello. So I've been busy looking up articles and even a book review, and finding as much as I could on the tidal model tonight. So what I did discover was that the tidal model was developed by Dr. Phil Barker and his spouse, Poppy Buchanan Barker, and it uses a philosophical approach to supporting people with mental health, as well as it's been adapted since to be applied in all sorts of different types of nursing. So the model was first introduced in the psychiatric care setting and was developed in 1997, so not too long ago. And it's since been developed to be applied in many multidisciplinary teams. I found out that the model emphasizes on spirituality, and that was Dr. Phil Barker believed that spirituality was lacking in a lot of the psychiatric models that were around when he first developed it. And so he wanted to focus on the lived experience that people experience when they do have something going on in their life that affects their mental health. So what else I found is that I read some more about the tidal model, and I discovered that Dr. Phil Barker and Poppy use the metaphor of water in their tidal model, which they emphasize in their model that it's fluid in nature and relates to the human experience. I also found out that they believe that the metaphor of water signifies change. So they do share 4 different critical points in a person's voyage with mental health and recovery, one being the initial crisis, followed by breaking down. Sometimes they refer to this as a shipwreck, and followed by rehabilitation. So this is where nursing practice comes into play, where the person seeks mental health supports. in psychiatric settings or in the community or in the hospital. And finally, they focus on a person's personal experience seeking guidance in their recovery. So what I found out was that the title model was the first mental health model that was developed by nurses and people who have accessed mental health resources and supports. And it was also the first recovery focus model. So I will share a little bit about the focus of the model and how it does support people through the recovery process. And I also plan to share with you what I discovered was the metaphor of the title model, which is water. So I'm about to go meet Dr. Phil Barker for lunch, and I've been thinking about what to talk to him about when I do meet him today and what type of questions that I could ask him in relation to my nursing practice. So after reading about the title model, I have learned some of the principles about active listening with the client, presenting them with time to listen to their lived experience, and it made me think about a client that I recently have cared for. I got a referral to assess a 59-year-old for home supports who the information that I had was that she was depressed and recently gone through a separation and had been in hospital with failure to thrive, and now she was back home, and her daughter and sister had put in a referral because she was apparently not eating and sleeping most of the day, not even getting up to have a shower, and they were not quite sure what to do as she had declined any mental health supports as well. So I'm planning to discuss this scenario with Dr. Phil Barker and see if he has any insight on or recommendations on how to support clients such as her in the community, and how I could relate the title model to my nursing practice as a community case manager. And I'm excited to go meet Dr. Phil Barker for lunch right now, so I'll let you know how it goes. So as a community nurse, I care for many clients with mental health diagnoses, from depression to anxiety, even post-traumatic stress, or even when they're transitioning from acute back to at home and they may have a change in their functional status. So I feel as though the title model could really help me understand what these clients are going through and how I can help support them as their caregiver. So I just had lunch with Dr. Phil Barker, and I learned that there are ways in which I could apply my practice to the title model, and that there are 4 key questions that I can ask a person when providing nursing care for them. One being, how might the person be helped to feel safe and secure, and what needs to be done for this to be realized? And Dr. Phil Barker told me about a personal security plan. Secondly, you could ask the client and explore who is the person and what are their problems of living, which is referred to as the holistic assessment. Followed by, how might we help the person begin to develop their own way of living constructively with their problems? So this can be conducted by having one-to-one sessions, so over time it could be reassessing your client or building rapport with them to slowly get them to accept care so that they're not alone. And finally, I could ask the client, what might the person learn about themselves and their problems through discussion with others? So this could be regressed to like group therapy sessions and hopes to help resolve the issues that they're currently facing. So that I found that applying these questions to my practice could help um, the care that I provide in applying the title theory. So, as my own personal critique of the title model, I do find that it could be difficult to find the time to go through the 4 steps that I shared in applying the model with the client, as it does take time to build rapport with your client, and sometimes we're not able to do that in our current nursing practice due to time constraints. Plus, many people that I care for in the community are transferred to acute, back to community, and have so many different healthcare providers and nurses involved in their care that they get lost in building rapport with that one consistent caregiver. I did read a letter to an editor in a nursing journal where a writer did share that he believed that the model is flawed in the sense that it ignores the crucial social, psychological aspects of current work environments for mental health nurses. And this writer believes that the title theory can ignore the specialized body of knowledge that some of the mental health nurses have. I also, in my reading of the title model, did not see emphasis on medication, but in more so of recovering clients through providing support and meeting their own personal goals. So that does somewhat conflict with what I see happening with clients, as they're on so many different psych medications and lose touch with dealing with their problems, as their psychiatric diagnoses are so advanced that it takes a lot of time to help recover and rehabilitate people through their mental health issues. I learned so much over the last week on how to apply the title model to my nursing practice. I learned from Dr. Phil Barker that life is always in flux and always changing, and in order to apply the model, that it's important to encourage people to discuss their own personal lived experience and to build a care plan based on that, and to ask clients what they need in order to recover. I shared 4 questions that Dr. Phil Barker believes should be asked to clients in order to apply his model, and was able to apply it to my nursing practice as a community nurse. And in conclusion, I feel as though that nurses can use this model to support their clients when we're at the bedside, or whether or not we're on the phone supporting clients, or at a home visit when setting them up with home supports. And it's important to remember that, everyone is in a flux of change, as Dr. Phil Barker said, and we can also adapt our nursing practices in order to support our clients, which best fits their needs.